So here are the electric arcs, and let me see here. Oh, there they are. So these guys are just an elements that are popping around, and so I wanted these are attached to the charges, so I'm merging in the charges here, and I wanted electricity, so this was the buildup. You know, these things are starting to connect to each other, and when they all connect up, they explode. So I wanted a gradual ramp up to be communicated, like to build some anticipation into this. And so this is why I chose to do the charge or the electric charges here. And so the big takeaway from this is the anticipation. I want to build anticipation for the next event. So I guess what to go over here is these wrangles here. These wrangles are basically, they connect up the points. And so I wrote a simple wrangle node here. And it's just a while loop that goes through the particles, and it creates a line when it finds a neighbor. And so I get sort of like this kind of network. And so basically I'm building the geometry. So in Houdini 13, this is huge. This is the first time where you can create geometry with Vex code. It's amazing. I use it so often. I can't stress it enough. Use these point wrangles. They are so awesome. And you saw how they worked in the missile trail. And so here's another example of it. And as always, you can go to the Houdini 13 Vex functions, and here they are. They're all the things that you could use for point wrangle. Super helpful. I use this all the time. And also, like where I discovered a lot of this stuff is Houdini uses it in a lot of these OTLs. So I was able to go through, and you know, I can start saying, "Oh, what are you doing here?" And this was a really good learning experience of, you know, how are they using this? And so as you can see, I just ripped this code pretty much, and just this top part. But this is how they're using the point wrangles, and you can see it's some pretty heavy duty stuff. So going over this stuff is a very great way to learn how to do this stuff and to see where they do and just get a hang of it, because often in these OTLs they're doing some really complex things. So I basically go through, I have a line in these, and basically I'm just building noise on top of it. So the noise here in this thing right here, it's putting the noise at the center of the point, because if I crank it up here, it disconnects from the charge, and I don't want that. And so what this does is this basically finds the age of the charge and it deletes them. And I do it with the noise, so as you can see, these things kind of like turn off and on, and I'm animating this parameter, so it changes the frequency of the noise. So by the end, the majority of them are all on, and so they turn on and off noisily. So that builds up the charge. And so that's just reduce the amount, and then here's the width attribute for rendering, and then I cache it out. And then I do a time shift because there was a crash that was happening and I couldn't really explain why, but that time shift really helped. So there's the electric arcs, and I do sort of the same for this zag charge, but as you can see, this is much more artistically directed. I wanted these charges to be very specific of what they do. And what these charges do is they chain through, where is it here? So you know, these things just turning on, but then you can sort of really see it turn on here at the end. What they do is they charge through, and it wraps through each one. And so it's like a bolt of energy that goes through each one of these, and once it does, kablam. You know, you can see how, here's the really tail end of it, this really big one here. And it blows up. So it's like this final connection of these charges connecting. They're fully connected, and that triggers the massive explosion. So it's just a subtle thing to add in there, but you know, little ways to follow the eye of going, it just connects all the points and then kaboom. So that's what I do here. Now, unfortunately, what happened to me in these is the channel editor did not keep my shit. And I had a lot of these because I had a lot of elements, and this is very handy for stuff you have to animate. So I'm going to go over this now. So what I would do is I would create a group, and I would call it O2 Zeg Charge. And what I do here is I put all the, so that should be first. And I put all the elements that are important in here. So I would make another group. Oh, let's just go G, create groups. Come on. And I would drop it in there. And I have a subgroup. And this allows me to keep everything very, very organized, which is very important because when you come to this, you can just open this up, you can click it, and then you know exactly where you are. So I'm going to pause this, and I'm going to rebuild my channel editor groups here. Alright, so they're rebuilt, and I had a lot of these for a lot of different elements. Basically, I had everything in these channel groups. I switched versions and they disappeared. Great sadness. It really cut me deep. And so that was quite frustrating. But I was done, and so I didn't really care too much. And, you know, you live and let live. So as you can see, this is just revealing, these are just carves that go through and reveal the line. And under the Zeg charge, I'm just going to Alt-G here. What the important thing I want to show you is this. You see the proportion in the timing, the dominant, subdominant, and accent. And then I have this spacing. So I have 3, accent, subdominant, dominant, which is the last one. And then I don't have them evenly spaced. And that's a very, very important thing in art direction, is the human eye just doesn't like that stuff. So I want to put it in my shapes, I want to put it in my timing. And so in this example is I wanted to show you how I do these, how I do the timing, and I proportion my timing out for this element. And so, and a little bit of technical stuff here on how to keep your stuff organized, because as you can see, I have a ton of elements here. You know, you really want to build these in. So as I go, I'm probably going to rebuild this stuff for the master file that I'll give away. All right, so thank you very much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. Bye-bye.